Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm a fourth year anthropology major and medieval studies minor here at UVic. Last summer I worked on a directed studies project with Helene where we looked at the emergence of scent as a medical problem in 12th and 13th century gynecological literature. The focus of the project was to look at cosmetic recipes in the gynecological text, the Trotula, which was compiled in Salerno, Italy, sometime in the 12th and 13th centuries. I also examined contemporaneous religious and satirical literature in order to add cultural context to the moral expectations and gender construction of women at that time. What I found is that the medicalization of scent shows up in the gynecological literature as part of a new practical approach to medicine at that time, one that includes more local oral traditions such as cosmetic recipes and empirical remedies, something that Monica Green has written extensively on. These recipes provide a glimpse into local practices at the time. It is among these that we find the scent of women defined as a medical problem. I have included quotes from the text, which are quite graphic, so I will let you scan them on your own. These recipes suggest that the severe odor of women's bodies is troublesome to men and therefore must be addressed. Some of the remedies have been attributed to the oral traditions of Muslim women and indicate a cultural exchange between Muslim and Christian women at that time. Yet with later translations, the recipes seem to take on the attitude of the clerical men that are transcribing them. For example, as I worked my way through subsequent vernacular translations of the Trotula, the sections addressing smell took on a more misogynistic tone, with women being referred to as evil-smelling, suggesting a more moral lens than medical. The escalation of patriarchal attitudes is highly evident in the 14th century work of a follower of Albertus Magnus, where the scent of a menstruating woman is not just unpleasant, but dangerous and can corrupt a man's insides. I also compared the medical text to religious literature. Here, much like the monastic translations, I found smell was commonly used to reinforce social expectations on how women should behave. The Ancrine Weiss, a 13th century guide for anchoresses, describes the lustful nature of women as a stink that scatters and blows and can infect those nearby, while Hildegard of Bingen utilizes sweet smells to define a submissive and virtuous feminine ideal. Lastly, I also looked at the satirical literary tradition, which extends back to the ancient world and often stereotypes older independent women as foul-smelling, deviant, and lustful. I found Rustico Filippi's poetry useful as it was composed in Italian vernacular, and while the characterizations are very exaggerated, I think his work provides some cultural context to local Italian attitudes towards women during the 13th century. Rustico's characterizations of women connect the female body with death. You open your mouth, and out comes the reek of 1,000 tombs. As well as deception, your body breeds the fox, with the fox being a common allegory for deception in the Middle Ages. As such, with these stereotypes existing in 13th century Italian culture, it is no wonder that the medieval woman sought out the recipes of the Trotula to mediate or conceal their smell. In conclusion, I found that literary characterizations of women use scent to reinforce desired social behavior and the feminine ideal. Yet medieval gynecological literature suggests that all women's bodies possess inherently foul-smelling and problematic qualities that must be mediated medically. The social construct that women's bodies are naturally smelly and need correction persists today. One only needs to look at the multitude of products in any pharmacy that are marketed to making every part of the female body smell better. Thank you for listening.